Hey, Compass HB, who wants to plant another church in Long Beach? Did you know that some of our church family live right here in Long Beach and Lakewood? Even some of our friendliest people, like Brad.
Hi, I'm Brad.
So if we're gonna plant a church here, we need two things: pastors and parking spaces.
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 Today, I'm excited to announce to you that we're hiring Bruce Blakey to be a pastor at our church, and he's gonna help us hire pastors to plant a church in Long Beach.
My name is Bruce Blakey. I got saved in the 1970s, actually sitting at Tommy Trojan on the campus of the University of Southern California. Two men I didn't know approached me and asked if they could talk to me, and they actually told me the gospel, which was the first time I'd ever heard it in my life, and right there the Lord saved me. There was a time in my Christian life when I thought the last thing I wanted to be was a pastor. Eventually, God led me to be the pastor of a church in San Antonio, Texas, named Believers Fellowship.
Bruce Blakey has hired pastors like Chance and Aaron to lead the church there in Texas.
It's been a real joy to serve at Believers Fellowship for 24 years and to hire these young men and see them develop as pastors to the point where they can lead the church going forward.
And now, Bruce Blakey is coming back to California to hire pastors to plant churches in LA County and right here in Long Beach. Did you know that Long Beach is one of the top 50 most populated cities in America? It's number 42 or 43, depending on what list you look at. That's bigger than Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Cleveland, Ohio, or Orlando, Florida. That's right, it's bigger than the home of Disney World. There are over 460,000 souls living right here in Long Beach. That's more than twice as big as the 200,000 souls living in Huntington Beach. And more souls equals more salvation. Jesus promised to build his church. We've seen him do it in Huntington Beach. Now it's time to pray for him to do it in Long Beach. And there's two things we need to pray for.
Pastors and parking spaces.
Pastors and parking
Pastors
spaces.
and parking spaces.
Pastors and parking spaces.
Pastors and parking spaces?
We need to pray for pastors. Who's gonna preach the word so the gospel rings out here in Long Beach?
In the 1970s, we experienced the Jesus movement, and people were getting saved. Churches were growing all over Southern California. We need to pray for that kind of revival today.
And the church is the assembly. One thing we've learned in 2020 is that we don't need a building to be the church. We can gather together and worship our God and be his people. But let's get real. A building is nice. And so we need to pray for parking spaces. We need to pray for a location where the church can assemble to worship Jesus right here in Long Beach.
Right now, there's a man sitting somewhere in Long Beach. He needs two people to come and tell him the gospel. He needs to be saved.
That's right, Compass HB. The reinforcements are coming. In 2021, Bruce Blakey is going to join our team of elders. And starting right now, he's on a mission to hire pastors.
Oh, Father in heaven, we ask you in the name of Jesus to build his church. And I pray you'll put it on the heart of everyone who watches this video to pray right now that all of our prayers will be rising up to you in heaven and that you will answer us down here on earth. Father, please plant a church in Long Beach. Please give us pastors and parking spaces so the name of Jesus is lifted high.